Earlier in the season, we did a video that was talking about Yuki Tsunoda versus Daniel Ricciardo. The Racing Bull drivers really seem to be going at each other a little bit, and I had postulated earlier that Yuki Tsunoda was maybe trying to grab some of the attention away from Daniel Ricciardo to say like, hey, why is everyone talking about Daniel Ricciardo as the guy who might replace Sergio Perez at Red Bull, or might go to Red Bull, for example, if Max Verstappen goes? Why aren't they talking about Yuki? Where does Yuki fit into all of this? And I put out there that he was almost trying to pick a fight, almost trying to get under Daniel's skin. And if that was his intention, you could look at Daniel's form and you could maybe say, could be something to that. Daniel's not going very well. There's a lot of drivers who have done extremely well in the past who are not having good years. Lewis Hamilton being one of them.
Lewis, I love you and respect you.
I respect you, but Lewis is on the lowest number of points that he's had after this number of races into a season, I think for the last 10 years. But Daniel Ricciardo is also just going poorly. And there were rumours that if he was going to have any hope of jumping into that Red Bull seat, he was going to have to do it before the Miami Grand Prix or by the Miami Grand Prix, which is 2 races away. And every time he doesn't score any points, it just hurts him even further. Being knocked out of the race after 3 corners, whether he wildly veered into the other driver or not, it's one fewer race that he has to actually show what he can do. But don't take my word for it. Let's weigh in. Kim Ilman, he's a photographer, fellow Aussie, so expect a little bit of Aussie bias, but not too much.
G'day from Nagoya, Japan. Daniel Ricciardo last just 2 corners off on turn 3 in yesterday's Japanese Grand Prix. Is Daniel done? Let's have a look at it.
Is he done?
I was shooting at turn 1. The cars are coming towards me. They all get past me. It was all fine. And then I immediately go and have a look at the back of my camera to pick a picture to post. And then I look up and I see a red flag just in front of me. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? I've got no TV screen to look at. And then I happen to see some dust settling over at turn 3. So I immediately go to the F1 app. Alex Albon, Daniel Ricciardo off at turn 3. And I didn't realise at the time, but there were huge sighs from the crowd because initially they thought, oh no, that's Yuki. It wasn't, so they were pretty happy that their man, Yuki Tsunoda, was still in the race. But I've had a look at the incident, and I'm sure you have too. I'm going to suggest it's a 50-50, and certainly a lot of the comments I've seen on social media would...
Yeah, I do agree. I really thought that was just a racing incident, especially since it was just in the first couple of corners of the track, and they never give penalties for that.
Suggest that the vast majority of the public believe it's a 50-50, it's a racing incident. I think the team will say, well, this is a racing incident, so I think he's going to get somewhat of a reprieve from VCARB, in so much as they're not going to say, right, well, that's another black mark against your name. That might be a grey mark. But certainly after the incident, it was quite amazing because I counted, I reckon, 8 different service.
Yeah, that was weird. Did everybody see that on the television coverage? Daniel and Albon get out of their cars and walk away, shake it off. And for no reason, there's like 10 trucks there. It's like there's only 2 cars. And I mean, they ended up having to repair the barrier, which might have been why they were bringing out cranes, for example. This bulldozer thing was helping to do that. But there just seemed to be a whole bunch of wheels on the track for some reason.
And have a look at the damage to both cars.
Yeah. I hope they've got spare chassis.
It was sizable. Later in the afternoon, I went back to the media centre and both Daniel and Alex Albon were facing the media, and I have seen a little bit of Daniel's stuff, and it's hard to watch. He's got some bad luck, and I know some of you are going to say, no, he should be gone, he's past it. I don't want to say that. I think he's great for the sport. Yes, he does need a bump up in his performance, and perhaps he needs some good luck.
I feel like what is done for Daniel is the hope that he will go back to Red Bull and dominate and get a whole bunch of wins and a bunch of podiums. I feel like that dream has just died. At the moment, the question isn't even will he be going back to Red Bull or one of the front-running teams. Right now, the question is, will he be able to retain a mid-team seat? And if he does, how competitive will he be? Other problems that plagued him for the last couple of years before he took his little sabbatical, are they back? Did he ever really get over them?
Media post that he and Alex were walking along the paddock, obviously amicably chatting about the incident. So that to me would suggest that in their eyes at least it was 50-50.
contrasting fortunes at Racing Bull, obviously. Yuki Tsunoda ran a really good race. So strong in qualifying. Such a good performance to get a couple of really good overtakes done to hold on for P10 in his home race. The race where Daniel Ricciardo crashed out. He's getting it done right now for Racing Bulls. So RB are lucky to be having Yuki firing. I don't know that Yuki's going to get promoted to Red Bull, to the senior team, but he's certainly enjoying a good run of form, considering the RBs are definitely not in the top 10 fastest cars, right? So for them to score points is a big win. But what's Daniel going to do? What is Daniel going to do?